You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning. Welcome into it's dark outside. Dark Friday edition of Inside the Locker Room. You know, tomorrow night you roll the clocks back. So Chase, when you get in here, it might even be close to being light. So you'll feel like you're getting an extra hour of sleep. So remember, roll the clocks back tomorrow night. 205-342-9904 is the phone number if you want to jump into the show. The X accounts at Locker Room 109 at Barry Sanderson at Wimp Sanderson 1. Email address for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download that app. You can send us an app message throughout the show. I know we had a little bit of issue with the app yesterday. People were messaging me and even calling me about that. So I think they're working on some things there. So if there's another problems today, just let me know. We'll see if they can't get those fixed over the weekend. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood brings you this 7 o'clock hour. Guys, you're going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola. There's only one choice, and that would be Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find a dealer closest to you. All right, Chase, click up applause there. So very rare. I don't think in the show's history of 9 years have we had a blue plate that was on Thursday night. But Dad took Tulane minus 14.5. I was worried about the hook. So was Chuck Norwood, but he didn't need the hook. The hook didn't matter. That game wasn't even close. Tulane 34, Charlotte 3. Give us a little applause there. Yes, that brought to you by the Chuck Norwood team, a Remax of Gulf Shores. Buying or selling, contact the Norwood team for all your Gulf Coast real estate needs. 251-948-1212. Now, Dad, they are calling for you to pick another game for the weekend, because that puts you at 5-5.
Yeah, I have to. I had another show, and I kind of screwed down. I have that today.
Oh, well, then maybe you could throw out another little pick later on today.
I'll tell you, I studied them this morning. They're hard.
Well, that wasn't hard last night. That was like taking.
I thought it was going to be very hard.
That was like taking candy from a baby.
The first quarter wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
Tulane's not very good.
So last night, I just parked my chair on the front porch. It started raining in the neighborhood, and that was not good. But we had a lot of trick-or-treaters. Then the chainsaw man said he was coming out at 7. Well, Jenny wanted me to come over there, so I waited. He didn't come out at like 7:30. He kept wanting me to come, so I put the bucket of candy on the front porch, and guess what? When we got back, there wasn't a crumb. At least they left the bucket, so the candy is all gone. But it was a success. I got in trouble during trick or treat. There was one of my neighbors, and I was joking. They had a little 4-year-old kid got lost, and he was at their house, and they put on Facebook, "Hey, we got this little kid here. He's supposed to be with Tanner. He's lost." And they found the child. I commented on there that they needed another child. That'll be fine. They needed another child, and Jenny got all mad and made me take it down. Said that was insensitive. So, whatever. Good morning, guys. How are y'all this morning?
We're doing fine.
Y'all feel better that you heard all that? Yeah.
This morning, as Barry mentioned, we lucked out on the blue plate. South Carolina State beat North Carolina Central, which is not much of a game, 24-21. The Jets came back and won after firing their coach. I never have figured that one out, 21-13 against the Texans. Tonight, San Diego State is at Boise State at 7 o'clock on, I forget what station. Anyway, the great player at Duke, Cooper Flagg, has got signed a Gatorade contract, and supposedly is going to be doing really well. I'm not going to explain this to you very well, and so I'm just going to comment on it because I think I should, because it's on here about the criteria for this rankings. There are 6 ADs, 4 coaches, and 2 former players, and 1 retired media member on the committee to pick the 12. There is a total difference. So I think this is the most important thing, and I'm not a very good job of explaining it. Barry probably better than me. It is not your ranking. It is the seeds. It is the seeds. So if you go by the ranking, and here's an example. The rankings right now would be Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Miami, Texas, Indiana, Iowa State, BYU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Boise State. And I know I went too fast on that. But that's the rankings. But when you go over to the seeds, the top 4 are not totally different. But Oregon, Georgia, Miami, Iowa State, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, Indiana, BYU, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Boise State. I've confused myself, and I probably shouldn't have gone into this with you, but I felt like I needed to say something about it.
They're going to rank them, but let's say there was a team that was ranked 8th, all right? If they win their conference championship in the SEC, let's say the 8th place team, they would be ranked in the top 4 when the playoff came out, because they would be a champion. So they would be a 1, 2, 3, or 4. The champions that get the buys, those are going to be the top 4 seeds.
Well, I just want to be sure that, when you look at the rankings as the guys who call in and you think, well, the rankings and the seeds are a little bit different. So
yeah, they could pick Texas. They could rank Texas A&M number 9, but they made it to Atlanta and won. Then they would be in the top 4 when the playoff.
I don't know. There's a guarantee that the winner of Alabama LSU game will go in. I would say this. I guess it's okay. I mean, I don't know. They don't seem to have Alabama and LSU involved in it much, and I could be dead wrong. And I'm not telling you anything negative. I'm just telling you stuff that I'm not sure. So rankings and seeds are different. That's about the only thing I can tell you this morning that would help you a little bit as you try to study who's going to get in, who's not going to get in. Outside of that, I decided that Brian Pasick knows a lot about Alabama basketball. We've footballed it to death. We're going to have football all next week because of the LSU game. And I asked him to be on at 7:30 today, and hopefully Sonny will be on it at 8:15. And of course, we'll talk football all the way up till Brian gets on, and after that. So, if you have something you want to say about what I've said, I haven't said much, but you're welcome to do so, and should be interesting to see. This is going to be a real challenge to get with the coaches and ADs and former players. The media person is retired, so they won't be writing an article about what went on in the thing. It's going to be a topsy-turvy. After you get those 4 picked, and the big winners, it's going to be topsy-turvy over the other 8. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah, Dusty, I appreciate it. Dusty sent me a message. Tell Jenny to let you have some fun. There you go. I said exactly. It's only insensitive if someone gets upset. Yeah, Monday is the start of college basketball. I pulled up the SEC slate so you could see who was playing. Some of these games you can catch on TV. Not a great slate of games. Tennessee takes on Gardner-Webb in Knoxville at 6. Texas A&M plays Central Florida. Not a bad game. They're playing that game in Orlando. Wright State, Kentucky. So if you want, that'll be on ESPNU. If you want to see the new version of Kentucky, that will be at 6 o'clock. North Florida travels to South Carolina at 6. West Georgia, Mississippi State. Tennessee Tech, Georgia. Maryland Eastern Shore will take on Vandy. Vandy's got a new coach. Missouri and Memphis. That should be an interesting game in the FedEx Forum. I don't know why that game is on ESPN Plus. That game should be on a real network. South Florida and Florida. Long Island takes on Ole Miss. That's at Ole Miss. UNC Asheville, Bama. So if you're going to that game and you're coming from Birmingham, unfortunately, guys, it's going to be a late one. That tip will tip at 8 o'clock on ESPNU, which everybody gets. Lindenwood takes on Oklahoma. And then here's a pretty interesting game in Las Vegas. Texas and Ohio State will play at 9 o'clock, and that would be on TNT and True TV. It looks like, wow, I didn't know they had games on that. So, all right, we got several calls coming in. We'll take the break here, and then we'll get back to the phone calls here. 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, let the professionals handle it. Give them a call today, 205-247-5050. 2-minute truck, movers who care.
Tuscaloosa Thread.
Good Friday morning. 25-year-old Justin Finkley has been charged with first-degree theft of property in that car theft that led to a chase and then a manhunt Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. A multi-agency search led to Finkley's capture Thursday morning around 10:30 a.m. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free all throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, it is TGIF, and we are still moving right along. I'm not seeing any severe delays right now. You may have some volume starting to kick it up just a little bitty notch. And this is right here on McFarland at Boone and Rose Boulevard. That intersection, really just stoplight delays. And then Lurleen Wallace, you're looking at very, very brief slow goes on the southbound lane south of 10th with your Tuscaloosa traffic. Now, Tammy.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the inside the locker. We want to thank Yellowwood for bringing you this 7 o'clock hour. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, we got Tom, Cowboy, and Philip Holden. We'll go right to Philip. He was called in first. Then we'll get to Tom, then Cowboy. Good morning, Philip. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Y'all are good today. Good morning, Will. Hey, we got some really good games yesterday. I sort of went crazy at my little contest at work yesterday. I had to. I really like Arkansas at home against Ole Miss. I think that's a real potential upset right there. I took South Carolina to beat Texas A&M.
Really?
I did.
I could see it. That line, that line is 3. A&M's 3-point favorite.
Right. And do you think Texas Tech can do anything with Iowa State? They can't play defense, but Texas Tech can get up and down the field.
Dad, Texas Tech.
I think Iowa State never does do quite what they think they should be doing. They get good for a long time. I would say Texas Tech has a shot in that game.
That game's at Iowa State and Ames. I don't know what's going on with the weather right now. It's not cold anywhere. Ames, it can get bone chilly in there, but it's going to be 57 degrees at this particular game. Right now, Iowa State is a 13.5-point favorite. You think Texas Tech can win the game or keep it close?
I don't know if they can win the game or not. I think Texas Tech gives them a better game than the score than the line indicates.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Barry, all I'll say is this. I thought Iowa State didn't look all that great a few weeks ago when they pulled it out of their rear end against UCF at home. And that was probably a game they might should have lost in. That's kind of what I'm basing some of my feelings on. I think Texas Tech, they can roll that ball up and down the field, but they'll give up about 58 points too.
Yeah, Dad came out of left field last night on that Tulane pick. We never even mentioned that, and that's what he needs to do, because whenever I give him advice, it never works. So that was the easy money last night, Philip. Chuck Norwood and all his listeners are happy.
Yes, and they should be. I wish Whit would come up with another one for this weekend.
Yes,
I've been trying to study it this morning for the show, and I'm having a booger bear time trying to find one.
Just find one as easy as that one, and you'll be good. Everybody will like you again. So,
hey, Barry, real quick. I know Tom and Cowboy are on. Are you playing any games over here towards East Alabama this holiday season? Are you going to play Opelika or Auburn, anybody?
No, we'll play up in Hoover in their tournament, 26th, 27th, and 28th. But nothing. We'll play, not really during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was kind of hoping you might ease over this way, but no, you like that Hoover tournament, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's just the reason I like it is it's not too far to go, and I can get my JV and my 9th grade team all 3 games. Now the parents don't like it because it screws up their Christmas vacation, but hey, I'm trying to get them some games. So.
Well, that's just too bad.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Philip.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Thank you. All right, back to the Yellowwood hotline, and you can't please the parents all the time, Chase. So you can get to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach. How are y'all?
We're good.
Hanging in there.
How are you, buddy?
Did Philip say Tom the talker? Is that what he said?
No, he said Tom and Cowboy.
Oh, okay. I thought he said Tom the talker, and I was going to say, Philip, you're right. The playoff, I wanted to ask a question to kind of go along with what Coach was talking about earlier, if y'all don't mind.
Sure. I'm
putting myself in the place of a committee member. Here's what I'm going to do, Coach. Okay. I'm going to look at the record. Who's undefeated? A. B. Who's got 1 loss? C. Who's got 2 losses? And automatically I'm thinking 2 losses ain't as good as the 1-loss team, and the 1-loss team ain't as good as an undefeated team. That's going to be my base right there.
Okay, now, Tom, let me stop you right there.
Yep.
As you say that, you're not going to think in the back of your mind strength of schedule?
Not yet. My second factor, that's going to be my third factor.
Oh, okay.
My second factor is going to be championship in conference, like Barry brought up, right? Okay, I may have a team sitting there at 8 with 2 losses. It goes to Atlanta, wins the championship game, they're in. Right? Am I wrong?
They're definitely, there is no ranking, and they're in the top 4 if they do that. If you're in
that's my point too.
Yeah.
See, so that mitigates, doesn't it? My 1-loss, 2-loss undefeated.
I don't like I'm with Dad on that one, because if you come out and you rank somebody a lot higher than me and they played nobody, like Clemson, their record's great, but they got blown out by the other wins they have, so they need to be around 10 or 11, and they're a 1-loss team. But their schedule is boo-boo. Boo-boo. So, I don't know.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But see, they got that little hanging chad out there. It's going to be conference championship.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But if Clemson, let's say Clemson runs the table and loses to Miami, so they have 2 losses now, Georgia and Miami. But no good wins. No good wins.
Right.
I mean, they're probably going to get in the playoff, but they need to be around. They'll probably be around, which they don't care. They'd probably be around 10, don't you think? 11, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That puts a interesting twist on teams getting into the playoffs, don't you think? I mean, that is it's down there at the bottom. It could be all jumbled up down there at the bottom, and then like Coach has been saying, here comes the bitching and the griping about who got in and who didn't, right?
That's why Clemson should never leave the ACC just for that purpose. They were in the SEC. They wouldn't even be in the playoff talk right now.
That's true. That's exactly right. Anyway, I wanted to throw that out there and see what you and Coach thought about my reasoning on it. I'm not sure it's that good, but that's what I said I would do if I was on the committee. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now brag on Dad because he asked Tom Hart good questions yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, I should have said that first, but I was thinking about yesterday after the show went on, the interaction between Coach and Tom, and then with you and questions and all like that. Fantastic. Just very good, very entertaining. Good radio, in my opinion.
Well, we appreciate it, Tom.
One thing that I did fail to mention today, Tom, was that the committee does not care. I guess it means it doesn't matter. Does not care about rematches. If you play somebody,
that don't matter to them. I agree with that. That's kind of really. I should have backed up and said. When I look at all the teams, at the base should be who's the best teams to get in the playoffs. But that's another day. And now I'm going to let Cowboy get in. Thank you,
Tom. All right, and then we'll go right to him. Hey, Cowboy.
How you doing, Barry and Coach? Barry, Coach, that blue plate sure tastes good this morning. Those turnip greens, green beans, and cream corn, and some hamburger steak, didn't it?
Yeah, the first quarter was terrible. I thought it was a terrible game to start with. And the first quarter, I said to myself, it's 3-0. And I'm thinking to myself, this wasn't very good. I thought Tulane was better than that. They are good defensively. But after the first quarter, it got better on my side.
Yeah, he should be embarrassed winning that easy.
I was trick-or-treating with my son, and then came back in, saw it. I said, I'll go pass out some candy on my porch now, and then came back.
I sent my grandson a note, Jack, and told him to get some money from all those coaches that he knows because they won the blue plate.
That's awesome. Well, that Tulane bunch pretty good. That coach at Charlotte's kind of weird. He looks like he's over a gym coach.
He looks like he's 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that Boise San Diego State, one of the better sounding Friday night games they've had in a while.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got house money for the weekend. You want to half what you made and try to win some more.
You got to roll it all. Don't you roll it all into one more game?
Well, no. What you do is you save a little, and if you hit that, then you can go full on that tomorrow night, and then you keep a little of your winnings. Don't ever give them away. Stay ahead of the bookies.
Hold the juice back, or hold half the winnings back.
Half the winnings, and then try to win the half that you won last night. Try to go with that. Then if you get that, then you can go a full on that. You still got half of your original winnings if you lose that.
You confuse me with all that.
That's rolling.
Let me tell you what to do. Just keep picking winners, and it'll work out good for you if you can do that. So.
Yeah. I thought I was crazy last night. I'm in this NFL picking thing. This friend of mine says, you know more about the NFL than me. I said, I don't know, but whatever. And I saw the Jets were a 2-point favorite at home, and I said, man, I don't know, but that's kind of a smelly line. I'm going to go with the Jets at home, and they won. And the Texans, I was driving before I got you guys going this morning, and the Texans are good, but it's kind of true. These NFL guys are saying there are a few key offensive players hurt, and they've won 6 games this year, but they've only won by a 9-point differential in points. So that tells you
that's the NFL right there. Every game is right down to the nitty gritty, just about. So
like last Sunday after the first Thursday night game and through the 3:00 games, I was 2-7, and then I finished 9-7. I won the last 7 in a row. Oh boy!
So you were in the green. Yep. So
Yeah.
Pay attention. At the end of the day, you can roll your money. Roll it, Cowboy. He'll pick another one. So we'll let you know.
Yeah. Interesting to hear Brian talk about the basketball team. That ought to be good.
Brian's going to be excited. He's normally excited, but he's going to be super excited today.
Yeah.
So.
He might do a cartwheel over the scoring table if Alabama makes back-to-back Final Fours. Maybe we could get him to agree to do that, a cartwheel over the scoring table.
There you go. Thank you, Cowboy.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Have a good weekend. All right, we'll get to break here. We'll get the sharpshooter, Brian Pasick, in. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, it is TGIF, and we are still moving right along. I'm not seeing any severe delays right now. You may have some volume starting to kick it up just a little bitty notch. And this is right here on McFarland at Boone and Rose Boulevard. That intersection, really just stoplight delays. And then Lurleen Wallace, you're looking at very brief slow goes on the southbound lane south of 10th. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Tom.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly cloudy today. We'll have the chance of scattered showers, the high 78. For tonight, becoming mostly fair, the low 62. Tomorrow and Sunday, partly to mostly sunny both days and warm, highs between 80 and 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. Going to build the 5-star backyard. You can watch the little hoops in that 5-star backyard. You want to use Yellowwood, go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. Well, you know it's getting basketball season. When we get Brian Pasick on, Brian, the former sharpshooter at the University of Alabama from the state of Georgia, also does the color commentary for Alabama basketball. How many years is this, Brian, that you've been doing the color for Bama Hoops?
Good morning, guys. 22. This is my 22nd year. So
that's crazy.
that is crazy. I mean, I can't believe it's been that long. It certainly doesn't seem it. And obviously I don't look that old. I think that was really your main point, Barry, and I appreciate that. But
where do you color your hair? Where do you get that colored? You're doing a good job. I need to go.
You haven't seen me lately, I guess. I'm looking more like you and your dad.
Oh,
so
boy, don't look like me.
I'm not doing a great job of it.
Yeah. All right.
I play golf with him a lot, and most players when they play, he's a good player, but most players when they play, they slice it and they hit it from left to right. And everybody that tries to teach people how to play, they correct their slice, Barry. For Brian, his problem is that he hits it right to left too much.
Okay.
And not that bad, but in his mind, he thinks it is. And
my problem.
It goes through all of this. If I say something to him about the grip, he doesn't like it. So I just don't say anything to him at all. I let him just leave it.
My hook.
He doesn't say anything to you. Go ahead.
My hook is because of poor coaching. I'm getting terrible coaching out on the golf course.
You stopped listening.
I didn't teach him.
Yeah. He's got some ideas for me.
He's trying. You've been shooting the same way all your life, and now he wants to change it. And you've been making shots.
Brian, on the basketball end of the court, Alabama is so noted and so good offensively. I don't know all the players yet. I've even studied them now, but I know they're great offensively. From what little you have watched them, I have a feeling from some people say that if they're not as good defensively and they weren't last year, they're going to be so good offensively it's not going to matter. Is that true?
Well, first of all, I think this team is going to be really good defensively. And, it starts with personnel. Last year, obviously, that was where they struggled with rim protection, and the defensive numbers were not near what any of Nate Oates' teams historically have been used to. His teams, more often than not, statistically and from an efficiency standpoint, have been actually a little better defensively than offensively over the long haul, even at Buffalo. The fast-paced and three-point shooting and talent and all that gets the headlines, but Nate Oates has been known for the blue-collar mentality and defense and toughness, and last year this team just didn't guard at near the rate that they needed to. Fortunately, they did for 3 weeks in March into April, so that was definitely a plus. They guarded when they needed to. But I think some things were addressed in a major way in the offseason, and it starts with personnel. Rim protection was a problem. You went out and got the best rim protector in the country, in my opinion, in Cliff Amore, 6'11", from Rutgers, got a 7'6" wingspan, great timing, one of the best defensive players in the country coming in. And then Aiden Sherrill, who hasn't played because he's had a little bit of a injury situation in the preseason, but hopefully he'll be back Monday night against Asheville, and if not Monday night, very soon. 6'11", 7 foot, 5-star center, can step out and shoot it, but also really good around the rim defensively. And then, Darion Reeves, freshman, can really guard. And then Brian Adams comes in from the NBA, one of the top defensive assistant coaches in the NBA. And I think he'll add a lot to this team on the defensive end. So I expect Alabama to be much, much improved on the defensive end. And because you have so much depth on this team, if you don't guard, you're going to go sit on the bench. And he just didn't have that luxury last year because depth was not what he wanted it to be, I'm sure. And now you've got one of the deepest, maybe the deepest team in Alabama basketball history with 13 guys that all can really play, and many of them noted defensive players. So I think this team, yes, will be up and down and score a lot of points and so much offensive talent, but this team will be much better on the defensive end this year.
I know Coach Oates, and I'm not asking you to name him unless you know him and you want to break the story. He talked about possibly having a redshirt a couple of guys, and I think it would make his job easier if he did. Now, convincing that kid that that's the best thing for him this early may be difficult. Later on, whoever the two are that aren't playing as much probably would be happy. Do you think the plan is to redshirt a couple of guys, Brian? Because I agree with you. When Youngblood gets back, if he's not going to redshirt, and I'm not saying he is, you got 13 legitimate players there. You can't play 13 guys. Do you think they will end up redshirting a couple of guys this year?
Well, it sounds like that's definitely a possibility, and I'm definitely not here to break any news. If I did, I would be relieved of my duties probably in you mentioned 22 years. It's been a good run. That would probably be it for me.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I know this. 13 guys, and every time I go to practice, and I've gone to several this summer and in the fall, and I kind of, in my mind, have what I think would be maybe the starters or the rotation and who's not going to play. And I'll say, okay, you're probably going to play maybe 9 or 10. And so who are going to be the guys that aren't in the rotation? And then, I'll come back to practice and they'll be the best player on the floor the next time I show up. So I have no idea how you're going to do it. And listen, I think both you guys, having coached as much as you had, having too much talent is probably not an area that you're going to feel too sorry for yourself. And I think that's the case this year. But I have heard Nate Oates and staff and just people around the program speak to the character of this particular team and the unselfishness and I think that's going to be important this year because there are going to be some guys that flat out deserve to play. And you can make the argument
Go ahead. Sorry.
If given the opportunity. that if they played, they can be major contributors that just probably aren't going to be in the rotation. I think it's going to help you in practice and from a competitive standpoint. But I'm not sure who those guys are going to be.
Yeah, for both of y'all, there's a 4-game redshirt rule. You can't go beyond that in football. Is there a redshirt rule in basketball?
No. I mean, you have to get in if you got injured.
Do you play in one game, 1 minute, your redshirt year's over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you got hurt. If you got hurt and you hadn't played in a certain percentage of the games. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Is that it is, if somebody got hurt a few games in and that they could be redshirt, but it's not a deal like in football. At least that's my understanding that, if you play in you could play in the first handful of games and then decide not to.
NCAA.
Yeah. Brian, and Dad can tell you this, and you can as well. You have freshmen come in, and all of a sudden you start practicing, and you got one guy that's all of a sudden he's a lot better than you thought he was. I like Derek McKee or Cheatham, somebody like that, back in y'all's day. And all of a sudden the coaches start glancing at each other. This kid starts to get better and better and better. I think LeBaron Phelan, I'm probably butchering his name. Philon, yeah, fits that. I saw him a little bit at Baker. I don't think Coach Oates quite knew exactly what he signed. This guy's going to be some player. That game against Memphis was so physical. Normally, that just overwhelms a freshman. Well, he looked like he belonged out there. Talk a little bit about him. What position is he? He really can play both ends of the floor. This guy's not scared. I think they got a gem in this one. I think he's even better than they thought.
Yeah, I agree. And Nate Oates has talked about it, and he's one of those guys that when I first came to one of these early summer workouts that I kind of thought, well, just looking at the numbers and high school rankings and so much talent back in the transfer portal, LeBaron Philon, he's going to be a good player here at some point, but it may take a year, probably won't be in the rotation as a freshman, and he'll get better and learn under Mark Sears and some of the other veteran guards. But let me tell you, it took about 5 minutes to say, okay, that kid's playing, and he's playing early, and he's really good, and he's really good on both ends of the floor. And he brings a toughness and a maturity to the court that you just don't typically see from freshmen. And he can play the point, he can play off guard. He can do a lot of different things. And I don't know what the rotation is going to look like, but based on what I've seen in practice and the 2 exhibition games, LeBaron Philon is in the rotation.
Yeah.
And another thing that I really like about him is that I know you guys have been to practices. That they are so competitive with all the drills that they do. There's a winner and a loser in every drill, and his teams typically win. And that's just aside from his physical skills and what you see on the court. This kid is a winner, and I think he's going to help this team in a big way on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
Arkansas, in my mind, trying to study it best I could, and I don't study it very well, would be somewhere in the top 3. Kentucky might be a drop down a little bit, but I would say that Tennessee would be decent. The bottom of the league will be a little bit of a struggle, I think, for some of them. Anything on the league that interests you?
Yeah, I think the league is going to be incredible, and I think it could be a historic year, and I think it will. I think the SEC will get more teams than they've ever gotten in the NCAA tournament. And you say, okay, well, they should. You're adding Oklahoma and Texas, but I believe the most teams that the SEC has ever gotten has been 8 in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And I think Jerry Palm from CBS, his way too early bracketology has 11. And I don't know that the SEC is going to get 11, but I think 10 is very much a possibility. And even the teams at the bottom, you start looking at their roster, and Coach, your buddy Porter Moser at Oklahoma, I mean, they're picked, I think, 15th. You start looking at their roster, you're like, gosh, you're pretty good. And I mean, he's even said this is one of his best ever shooting teams that he's coached. So they're going to be pretty good. They're picked 15th. The SEC is so good, and you look at the preseason analytics, it's at least going into the season, the number one league in college basketball. And I think there's 12, 13, maybe 14 or more teams that right now go into the season and can honestly say that their goal is to get to the NCAA tournament and feel like that's a realistic goal for them. And I don't know the league has ever had that type of depth from the top to the bottom.
Brian, one thing we do know is that Dad and I did not put together the schedule. Oh, my goodness. I'm looking here. And McNeese State, they're going to be good. Will Wade's going to have you're going to be shot. And then all of a sudden, you go to Purdue. Then you got Illinois and Birmingham. And then you play Houston, who's ranked in the top 5 in Vegas. Then you got Rutgers. And then you're going to have another really good team out there on that Saturday. And then you go to Chapel Hill and play North Carolina, and then you got Creighton coming here. That's a gauntlet there, Brian. This is some schedule that Nate Oates has put together.
Yeah, last year, number one strength of schedule in college basketball, and I think that there hadn't been from a number standpoint a tougher one in several years in college basketball than Alabama had last year. And I think this year's schedule is more difficult than last. And you mentioned that there's a period of about a month where, I mean, it's highly ranked teams. I mean, you go to North Carolina, who some people have in the top 5, Purdue, a Final Four team. And I don't know if you guys have been to Purdue, that is as tough a place to play as there is in college basketball.
Yeah, you sit below the court. You sit below the court in there.
Big guys.
Yeah, that place is a tough place to play. And I mean, Creighton's could be a top 10 team coming in. Illinois, I think, is 26, just out of the top 25, and they just got an addition to a big man that they didn't think was going to get eligible. I think they're a top 25 team coming in. You mentioned McNeese State; they're receiving votes, and for McNeese State to receive votes in the top 25 in the AP and coaches, that's not normal. Will Wade can get players, we know that, and that's going to be a tough game. Listen, Nate Oates is always scheduled extremely tough, but he knows that he has a good team and that they need to be tested, and they will be tested in a big way early on. And you mentioned that trip to Las Vegas. I mean, gosh, Houston, a top 2 or 3 team in the country, Rutgers, maybe 2 of the top 3 freshmen in college basketball there at Rutgers, and then another difficult game on that Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. The schedule is brutal, but this Alabama team has the roster to navigate it. And I think more importantly, it's to get you ready for the gauntlet of the SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament. And he knows that having a schedule like this, you get rewarded. And listen, I know if Coach, if the numbers were what they are now back then, as far as what your record is as opposed to who you played and difficulty of schedule, that you would have played a schedule like this. You just weren't rewarded 20, 30 years ago with a very difficult schedule, and you are now. So it makes a lot of sense to play a tough schedule like this, and this team will be tested in a big way early.
Dad, do you think if Bama goes to Vegas and wins that's $1.5 million, does the color guy get any of that NIL money, Dad, do you think, that $1.5 million?
I think the color guy doesn't get any, no.
None? Not
I don't know.
You know what?
They like to give the money to the guys who are going to win.
Oh, not the guys talking about it?
They're going to pay me the exact amount that you guys pay me for my appearance fee on these shows.
Well,
not much.
Brian,
not
how hard would your guys have played to win $1.5 million? I mean, can you believe that college basketball's come to this?
No, I tell you what, you wake up Adolph Rupp and all those guys, and Coach Brian in football, they would they would laugh at you. They would think you're making a joke.
I mean, if a guy misses a shot to win the game, are you going to be mad at him? It's going to cost you some cheese, Brian. That's $1.5 million.
Back in the day, I was so excited when Sanglida would hand out that $10 bill or $20 bill, whatever it was, to go get dinner. Oh man, $20 after a game. I thought I was rich. It's changed.
How are you going to give out that 1.5? I mean, if you're the leading scorer, do you get a higher percentage? Are they going to split that across the board, Brian? Give us some breaking news on that.
These are wild times. Breaking news. That's the breaking news I got. It is wild.
Kids and their parents and their coaches, their high school coaches, is sometimes jealousy as you go through a long season. I know if you're playing beside each other on the offensive line in football, it becomes that way defensively too. It's something that we don't talk about on the radio, but it's a real concern for the assistant coaches. That's the reason you've got a general manager in football. This is gone way above anything we've ever thought about. So it's something that you don't discuss much, but you can lose your team a little bit with problems like that with jealousy.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna give it to the guys at Red Shirt? And Brian, you think those guys going to say, "All right, find out how much Sears got"? Are they going to be asking each other how much was in your envelope? Do you give them all the same? How do you do that, Brian?
The locker room. Listen, that's an appropriate name for your show. It's always been more important than people realize. Yeah. But now it's just as important, and I'm not even saying more important, but it's just harder to manage now because of all the outside factors and all the things you named. I mean, I can't imagine trying to navigate through that. And, I put myself as even, it's been 100 years since I played. I mean, as a player and what would be going through my mind if I wasn't getting playing time, if I wasn't able to do the things I wanted to do, and what is that going to mean for NIL later in my career? But, you just have to manage it. He's got a great staff. Nate has done a terrific job managing all those things over the course of his career. It's just amped up in recent years in a big way. And that'll be a big part of what not only Nate Oates has to do this year, but every coach in the country at every level. It just makes it more difficult.
Yeah, that deal in Vegas is confusing. I talked to Bobby Champagne at Houston. He was like, I don't even want to tell you the things he said. But I don't know why Alabama and Houston would play. And if you would think those guys would end up playing on that Saturday for the championship. But I don't know how they even laid that thing out. But I probably wouldn't give them their money until they get back from Vegas, Brian. I would probably just wait,
That's probably a smart move, Coach.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
Tell us when they kick it off. What is it, Monday night, 8 o'clock against who is that they got? UNC
Asheville.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Anything about Asheville?
Monday night.
Anything about Asheville the listeners should know?
Well, I mean, they're a pretty good top 3 or 4 team in the Big South. They won some championships in recent years, and they're going to be coming in and wanting to shock the world, and Alabama's going to get everybody shot. Number 2 team in the country coming into the season. Expectations are through the roof for Alabama, and they're going to have to be ready to play. Hopefully the roster will be a little more set. Hope to have some of the guys that have been sitting out with injury back in that game. But it's going to be great to be back in Coleman Coliseum. Ticket sales are through the roof for not just this game, but the entire season. So looking forward to college basketball being officially back Monday night.
Thank you, Brian. That's been about 30, by the way. that answer. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you, buddy. Thank you. All right, we'll take this break. We want to thank Yellowwood, who makes this 7 o'clock hour possible. Do it for us each and every day. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you certainly don't want it. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. You can look forward to a quiet ride for this TGIF, at least for the time being. So we've got ideal conditions and even the busy spots right now. That's Lurleen Wallace and McFarland. Of course, always a busy intersection. Yes, McFarland is a little slow on the eastbound side, but it's brief and its intersection slow goes, so no worries. And we're also traveling nicely on Skyland Boulevard. You'll tap on the brakes from time to time between 2059 and McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Tom.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
This is
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
the sky mostly cloudy today. We'll have the chance of scattered showers, the high 78. For tonight, becoming mostly fair, the low 62. Tomorrow and Sunday, partly to mostly sunny both days and warm. Highs between 80 and 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Week 9 in the NFL got underway with Thursday Night Football in New Jersey, where the Jets surprised the Texans 21-13. New York was down 7-0 at the half. Didn't have anything going offensively, but in the second half, outscored Houston 21-6. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers had 3 touchdown passes, 2 in the fourth quarter. 2 went to wide receiver Garrett Wilson, the other to Devontae Adams. Houston quarterback C.J. Stroud struggled, no touchdowns, sacked 8 times, lost a fumble. New York's now 3-6 with the win. They snap a 5-game skid. Houston 6-3 with the loss. In the NBA, Grizzlies beat the Bucks 122-99. John Morant a triple-double in the win for Memphis. Suns were down 21 points on the road. Rally back, beat the Clippers in L.A. 125-119. Devin Booker led them with 40. Rockets over the Mavericks 108-102 was the Spurs beating the Jazz 106-88. In the NHL, Capitals down the Canadiens 6-3. Washington star Alexander Ovechkin a goal. He's now 37 away from Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance agent Andrew Kniffer. He and his staff are ready, willing to take great care of you out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Just give Andrew and those guys a call, and they will get a free quote, get it right there to you, 205-722-9201. Looking for home, life, auto, whatever you need. They will take great care of you with Andrew Kniffer and Allstate Insurance. Once again, 205-722-9201. All right, Dad, people are wanting you to pick a blue plate. I'm not asking you to pick it now. Another blue plate. The one last night, as we said, if you missed the first hour, hit. It was Tulane minus 14.5. People were worried about the hook. Game ended up 34-3. What are some other interesting games that maybe you're looking at for the weekend?
Well, I looked at UAB and I don't like it.
Don't do you, because we don't want to have to watch that game.
Yeah, ask me to
I know, I'm just teasing.
But I'm not going to fool with it. I think it's I for some reason I don't like SMU. I don't like the.
It's because they burned you that first week.
I don't like the way their coach acts with their kids. They let them fight and all that kind of crap, and I don't like that. The SMU quarterback is going to play. I can't, in my heart, pull for SMU to win. And I think Pittsburgh has a chance to win that. So I've looked at that pretty strongly to see if maybe we need to go there. You'll laugh at this one, Barry. I've got a little bit of a feeling for the Auburn game.
Really?
Yeah, I think having spent a lot of time trying to defend our option, having a team that knows that this team has beaten Alabama and how bad they hate Alabama to start with, their players probably, that they'd be more ready to play. I think the crowd will be there because of the win against in the last game against Kentucky. So I think the home field advantage will be there. So I've where most people, I think the running game, if they ever decide to stay with the running game, and I think maybe they have a little bit more so than the past, that they can control the tempo of the game a little bit better. So I kind of like that a little bit. The other games in the league, they've jumped up now with the Kentucky-Tennessee game to 17 or something, or
17 and a half. They got a hook in there now.
So I've got to stay away from that. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win South Carolina. I mean, I want South Carolina to win because I like South Carolina because of my kids have been there. I don't know. 2.5, 3. I think it's 3 now.
3, yeah.
And so
Willie B. Williams-Brice will be rocking.
Yeah, I like that.
Just if they can jump on them, it just seems like South Carolina. You could make that game a pick 'em. I wouldn't know which way to go. But it seems like sometimes at the end, South Carolina they played great and then they just don't win. But maybe this is the week. They always upset somebody at home during the season. So this might be. I wish I was going to that game.
I don't know, but I took this thing and studied it last night, even while the game was going on, because I wasn't sure that I was going to win last night in the first quarter. It got better after that pass interception.
Yeah, pick 6. That was easy.
Yeah, that made it a lot better. So it was. And I studied it this morning prior to get going on the show. They just knocked some games in there that Penn State and Ohio State. I don't know how to pick that. Penn State's getting some good points.
I think they're getting. Let's see what they're getting here. That's big.
I tell you one I kind of liked, but I kind of liked Oregon.
Yeah, Penn State.
Yeah.
Getting 3 points at home.
Yeah.
But Penn State, they'll break your heart in a second for some reason. I got a buddy of mine that went to Penn State. And we always tease him about them just losing. They always close.
Oregon, Barry, has moved to 14 or 15.
14 and a half at Michigan.
Oregon is very, very good. They want to show you that they should be number one. So they're going to run the score up if they can. Michigan's a little bit up and down. Sometimes you think they look pretty good, and sometimes they're not. So I looked at that over and over and over, and that's a lot of points to give.
I'll tell you a game I like. Nebraska. I think that coach at Nebraska does a good job. They played Ohio State really well.
Yeah.
They're at home playing UCLA. UCLA is not, and the line is 7. I think they'll smash UCLA, won't they? Are they going to be so down from not finishing that game against Ohio? But UCLA is 2-5 and 1-4. Why is that line only 7 at Nebraska?
I don't know. I looked at it, but sometimes the games are too good to skip.
Yeah.
But
it was like that BYU one last week. But I think everybody was saying Central Florida, everybody, and then that's when it goes the other way. The other game, Indiana's getting their quarterback back.
Yeah.
They're at Michigan State. Indiana's been killing it. Game's on Peacock, so I ain't going to be able to see it. But Indiana's an 8-point favorite. Is Michigan State any good?
No. That might not be a bad one for me.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting games out there, but no.
State's not bad. Is Michigan State at home?
Yeah, it's at Michigan State. And that game's 2:30 on Peacock.
The quarterback at Indiana's back?
Yeah, he's going to play. Yeah. He had a hurt hand.
Yeah, I know that.
But their backup's not bad. He's pretty good as well. He's come in and...
That may be the one I'll take.
Oh, Lord. See how this is setting up, Chase? This is going to be my fault.
Oh, it ain't going to be your fault. I'll give you credit if I win.
See how this is setting up, Chase? I ain't going to win this weekend. If he wins, it's his. If he loses, I talked him into it.
It'd be mine on another radio show, but it won't be.
I talked him into it.
I
had that BYU. I tried to get him to take BYU last weekend, and he didn't, and they covered easy cover.
That wouldn't be the one that you told me we lost. We would have lost.
Yeah, but that was the week before. We ain't talking about that one anymore.
Yeah, you don't talk about that.
No, we don't talk about the losses.
The Auburn games moved to 7.5, I think.
Yeah, just buy that line down to 7. Chase, who you like, Auburn or Vanderbilt? See, I think Auburn is going to want to beat Vanderbilt, so then the Auburn fans can kind of, nudge the Bama fans that you lost to Vanderbilt. They had, I think, having a week to get ready for the option is good. Them beating Alabama has Auburn's attention. Where if Vanderbilt rolled down there 2-5, they would. So they got their attention. They just won a game. They're back home. What do you think, Chase? I'm trying to convince you that Auburn's going to cover the 7.5.
I see what you're doing. It can be possible. It's just no one's had an answer for Diego Pavia. He's just been popping
banged
off.
up though, isn't he?
Yeah, I've heard reports of being banged up. It's just, can you trust Auburn though, and how they played this season?
Can't trust Auburn.
It's just weird,
Yeah.
What did you say the Indiana line was?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll be back.
That's a lot. Well, you took a 14.5 point underdog last night. 8 shouldn't scare you.
That's not a bad deal, though. Indiana's good, boy.
Yeah, they are. Kirk Cignetti. Who's going to be coach of the year? Is it going to be Cignetti or is it going to be Dion? Dion might get coach of the year if they go 10-2.
He gets them ready to play.
Yeah, he does. He's no nonsense.
I had on one show with a quarterback is Greg was a quarterback, and he says, "Boy, in those meetings, you knew where he stood and everything."
Yeah. That's fine when you're winning the way he acts. If they ever start losing, that won't be as fine. But I would not hire him if I were at Florida. If Florida's that open, I would not hire Cignetti. But I got a guy here that thinks Alabama should hire him. He's all over me all the time. If DeBoer left, that's who they should hire. He's 63.
They had some. There was some gang. There was some team. I can't remember the team, so I can't tell the story very well. And Coach Saban came into the thing, and he said, I want to tell you guys, so-and-so is open. Is anybody interested in it? He raised his hand real quick and said yes, and took the job.
Yeah.
Nobody else raised their hand. It was doing a great job. And he raised his hand and said yes, and took the job. And he went after the job. I mean, right then, of course, when he went after the job and Nick recommended him, he got it.
There you go. So, all right, we'll get to break it. You got Sonny's walk-up music, Chase? All right, we'll get that if we can get Coach Sonny Smith in. Who is that he likes, Chase? So you're supposed to remember this. You're young.
You know what? It's Vern Godson, Chiseled in Stone.
There you go. This is Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Got a little something going on here in Northport. Highway 43 southbound at Rose Boulevard. Heavy because of an accident, which is now on the shoulder. But still, you do have the rush to work delays as well. And moving on Stillman Boulevard, 15th Street. That's just a little slow at the intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. Its daily update on Bama sports and is brought to you by Guthrie's. America's original chicken finger restaurant is now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by women's basketball head coach Christy Curry.
Well, I think first and foremost, we recruit our roster from a year ago that could come back, and we have 8 amazing returnees. They're so committed to what we're doing, have much improved, each and every one of them in their own way, but we've added 6 new faces. And, you know, I understand how important the portal is, but I think any time that you build a program and you stay consistent, it starts with freshmen. And we're so excited about our 3 freshmen, Eris Lester, Chloe Spreen, and Leah Brooks. All 3 bring such a high level of experience in winning. But we had 3 really important, amazing young women from the portal that bring a lot of experience. So I think we've blended the old with the new, and we're excited about the potential this team has. I think it has a lot of depth and versatility that maybe in the past we haven't had.
I'll have more in a moment.
Founded in Haleyville, Alabama in 1965 by Hal and Melissa Guthrie, Guthrie's was America's first chicken finger restaurant. Guthrie still uses the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe in every chicken finger they serve. Fresh, hot, and fast. Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers has been Alabama owned and operated since 1965, and Guthrie's is still growing strong. Come see us soon. Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant, and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
We've got you covered for Alabama basketball on Monday. The women's game tips off at 5 p.m. with our radio coverage starting at 4:45 against New Orleans. Then the men's game will begin at 8 p.m. Central with coverage starting at 7 o'clock across the network. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
The words we spoke in anger just tore my world apart. And I sat there feeling sorry for myself. Then an old man sat down beside me and looked me in the eye. And he said, son, I know what you're going through. You ought to get down on your
Welcome
knees.
back. Ooh, that's good. That's good stuff there, Chase. So you don't appreciate music like that, do you? All right, maybe you do. Tuscaloosa Toyota, that's where you want to go get your new vehicle. They got the Highlanders, the Corollas. I'm looking at those, man, those beautiful trucks that they got, a variety of those out there. But this Toyota Camry, the 2025s are already in. So swing by Skyline Boulevard today. Tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. Go find Justin. They'll make you a great deal. They'll take great care of you. All right, you heard that walk-up music, and what does that mean? We go get the NABC District 6 Coach of the Year, Ohio Valley Coach of the Year, 2-time SEC Coach of the Year, CAA Coach of the Year. Lord, how many leagues did he coach in? Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, Coach Sonny Smith. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Sonny.
Well, how's everybody?
How's that music this morning?
It's good. It's good to wake up to Vern Gosdin, one of my favorite singers ever.
Wait a minute. Are you just waking up?
Well, that's just a term I use. I've been awake all night. I worry a lot.
It's like you're still asleep.
I'm getting myself prepared for this show is what it is.
You need to.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Well, now Auburn is. I don't know if you know this or not, but somebody needs to know it because you can park some cars. You playing a team now that has beaten you. They're when they were at New Mexico State. They have beaten the University of Alabama. So they've got the offensive coordinator, the head football coach, and the quarterback with them now. Can Auburn, after their win the other day, can they come in there and win that game?
Everybody around here
what do
thinks.
the Gummers say?
All the Gummers think they will. I'm not so sure. I don't think the public as a whole here, the fans, have any idea how good or how bad we are. I think they're always going to be leaning towards the negative side from a standpoint. We're not that good. But we haven't shown either side of ourselves from a standpoint of knowing how good or how bad this team is.
Okay, Barry.
What kind of crowd they gonna have down there? We got some guys that are considering maybe picking Auburn in that game. We want to make sure they're gonna have a home field advantage down the line. 7.5, Coach. Will that place be sold out Saturday?
Oh, it'd be sold out regardless of what the deal is. Auburn people show up, and it doesn't. I don't think it has affected the crowd one way or other, their record over the years. You play a home game, they're going to be here.
Yep.
Anything in basketball that we need to know? They're saying, or he's saying, that his two freshman players are really good, and they're going to really contribute.
I think they're really good. I also think the team is really good. I think barring injury, taking care of a difficult schedule to start the season, if they were to do those things, they're going to be a very good basketball team over the year. And I think that people that have seen them have gone to workouts and so what the things that they can do. I think everybody feels that we're going to be pretty stout, and I absolutely feel the same way.
Are you doing the color this year, Coach?
I'm struggling with numbers, but maybe 5 games, maybe 5. They asked me to do 6, but
tell me what games they are, because I know Auburn will win those games.
Well, in those games,
I'll only take the games we're going to win, the ones at home. We're playing schools we never heard of. I learned a lot from you.
Chase, have you ever heard Coach Smith do the color of an Auburn game?
Auburn ain't fouled yet.
Let me just let you know this. You ain't going to have to guess who he's pulling for, all right, when he's doing, which I like. I like a homer. But
I'm a homer now. I am a classic homer. I am a homer, boy.
He will rip the officials. They ain't never made a call right. It's worth listening to if you've never heard.
And Bruce Pearl invented basketball.
Yeah.
I build them up, boy. I ain't good at tearing them down, but I sure can build them up. You got to be a homer. If you're going to be an announcer, you got to be a homer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something you know something about. That's NASCAR.
Yeah, I heard of that. I used to watch it. I used to watch it back in my young days. I know a lot about. What do you want to know?
Well, I wanted to know how long does it take to change 4 tires?
Well, now that is something that you really need to know. 19 seconds is real slow.
19 seconds?
If you can do 4 in 19 seconds, you're good. But you go under that, they're not too good. You got to get them out of there in 19 seconds or less.
19 cotton picking seconds, all 4 tires?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got a guy on each tire?
There's 4 of them out there going around.
They got 4 tires, don't they, Coach?
I didn't think that guy ran around there in 4.
Well, actually, they got 2 guys. They got 2 guys and a roller. A guy rolls the tire out to them.
How many they got down there? They roll.
If you can't get them out of there in 19 seconds or less, you ain't getting it done.
Are you kidding me? 19 seconds?
That's what.
And you changed tires one time?
You go to Jiffy Lube and get your tires changed. It'll take you 5 hours.
I tell you what, I bet you. I bet you when that time you changed them, I was working with you. I bet you those other 3 guys on the tires said, "Hurry up, Sonny." And Sonny said, "Well, I can't get the nut bolts off."
They don't have. They got this one thing comes off, one little old cup type thing. They slam it on. Oh man, they do it fast.
They do it.
Yeah, they don't get out in 19 seconds, but I did do that a little bit early. But it's incredible amount of time it takes them to get in and out.
Do the guys that do the tires make a bunch of money?
Oh yeah, Lord, yeah. Well, the guys that are doing the tires Wimp also work in the shops, putting the cars together.
Yeah.
And they don't just have people that work as tire changers, but they work at some other phase back at the shop when they're putting the car together. So I don't know how many people would be just. I'm a right tire changer, I'm a front tire changer, a back tire, but they do a lot of different things. They work at the shop doing things also.
What about, while we go on this, then tell me about what happens about, if somebody's filling a car up with gas, or is it they always okay with gas?
No, anytime they come in, they're going to fill the car up, regardless of how much they've used. They fill the car up totally. A guy will come over the wall with a can in his hand, and he'll fill it up. And
a can?
He's a big can of gas. Big can.
Looks like he would have something to be faster than a can.
Well, I don't think you got time to run a hose across there and then pull the plug. I don't think they bring a big can full of gas and dump it in there and get off.
If
you got to get in there and out.
If a guy loses the race because he feels like they didn't do a good job filling up the car and they didn't do a good job with the tires, does he fire those guys? Does the owner fire those guys? How does that happen?
Well, you won't be working for him very long if you don't get your job done. In other words, if your job is to get those tires out there and get them on, or to get the gas in the car, you won't be there very long if you mess up, I tell you. The whole race a lot of times depends on a pit stop, how fast you can get in and get out compared to the other people. And sometimes the pit stall that you have will slow you down. And sometimes the people parking near you will also slow you down by sliding over the line a little bit. They have a lot of issues with a pit stop that they've got to go perfectly. The races, I think that if you look at the philosophy of drivers, they think the race is won on pit stops. If your pit stops are better than everybody else and your car has the speed that it's supposed to have, it'll all be determined whether you get in and out faster than people when you go into the pits. And also another thing that determines is what pit stall you drew. So, and that is really very important to racers. You don't want to come off the track and have that first one to get it slowed down and have to go fast to get off the track. So you got to pick a. I don't know who's in charge of picking the stalls, but you got to get a good stall on pick.
So early stall is bad.
Well, you wouldn't want to have that first stall because you have to stop so fast to get into your stall, so that slows you down on what speeds you needed out on the track. I said I don't know that you asked a good question. I don't know if you really mean to or not, but the pit stall you get will have a lot to do with winning the race.
That's something
you don't want to get the
we've
first
never
pit.
Heard that on this show. He's asked a good questions. That's a first, Coach.
Always ask.
Well, hey, that's the first question I've ever been time I've asked that, so I don't know if I'm going to answer it right. But you don't want number one stall. You want to get down into the middle stalls and get out. You don't want to get the first or the last stall. You don't want those.
What is the most difficult thing that happens to you as a driver at the pit stop? The thing that worries you the most?
Well, whether they got the tires tight or not. They put them on so fast that sometimes they'll end up with loose nuts, and when they do, that affects that affects the driving of the car, and also affects the speed of the car. So making sure that they get the lugs on tight, and making sure they get them all faster than everybody else. If you can get them down in the teens, you ever get in and get a pit stop 3-4 tires in the teens, you're really doing something.
Coach, did you go trick or treating last night?
Yes, I did, and I had to stand out there, and some of the most unbelievable garbage I've ever seen come up that road. Some of them actually scared me.
What'd you do? Where were you?
I was passing out candy, man. I'm a community leader in that. I get out there and do my job.
Well, let me tell you what, Dad doesn't do Halloween till today because he says if you go to the store, you get the candies half price. So he told him to come back. And then I had given him a birthday card. And the next year, he gave me the same card. He had whited out everything I'd written, and then he wrote in whatever he wanted. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. Not at all. Oh, man. That's the quote of the day right there. The truth will set you free, man.
What kind of candies you give? The cheapest candy to give out is a bunch of peppermints.
Chocolate. Give out chocolate. They'll be happy with it.
Peppermint's cheaper. If you just get peppermints,
he says
cheaper.
Peppermints because you can get about 500 peppermints for $10. So you just get one peppermint.
So he's looking for the cheapest candy.
Yeah, one peppermint.
One peppermint.
Barry, I'm not so sure you're going to be in the wheel. I think the wheel. If the wheel's written early, you ain't going to be in.
He's going shopping today. He's going. He said Walmart. You can actually get it's half price and buy one get one free. So he's going to have plenty of candy today. If you want
He'll
to
be
go.
the first guy in line. He'll be the first guy in line.
Yeah.
Who's that up front? Oh, that's Wimp. He's there every time.
There you go. He's
Well, I kind of when they come to my door, I kind of go through their candy they already have, and I pick me out some.
Gets him some. Yeah, you.
Lord have mercy.
Sonny likes that. He likes all that crap.
You gave him an idea.
Do I like it? I know it's the truth.
It is true.
It is true.
Open that. This is exactly. Open that bag, Slick, and the little kid will open that thing up, and he'll say, "You don't want that Reese's there, do you?" And he'll pull.
No, you don't want it. I'll take it.
No, I won't ask you, but he wants it. No, I'll just take it.
Him at Reese's. You gonna make me put my hand in there? That's what happens. So anyway, he hit a blue plate last night. He picked a Thursday game, so now they're wanting to pick another game. Should he do it, Coach? Should he pick another game?
Yeah. He's the best blue plate picker.
Yeah, he's 5-5. He's 5-5.
Ain't real good.
Is he 5-5?
Yeah,
ain't real good.
Oh, that's a good year for him.
Yeah. So, well, Coach Chase, you got Coach's music. We got to get it going before will you sing this song?
Well, now let me tell you what. You play Vern Gostin. Your
Sonny
audience
James is better.
Your son is good now. Son is good. But let me tell you, Vern Gostin, he is the best. That's Vern right there.
Yeah, kick it up a little bit, Chase.
You know Vern's from Alabama, don't you?
No, where's he from?
Yeah.
Where's he
Where?
from? I can't hear you because I'm listening to Vern.
Sonny James from Hackleburg.
What'd you say about Sonny James?
He's from Hackleburg.
He's from Hackleburg, he said.
Yeah, but I know where Vern's from, but I can't pronounce it.
Oh, I figured that.
Birmingham.
Probably Birmingham.
It's Birmingham.
I think it's Tuscaloosa.
Coach, have a good weekend. Be careful of those Vanderbilt Commodores. They can jump on you down there. Be ready.
Are we playing them again?
Yeah, be ready.
We try to get them every week, but I don't think they want to come to
$20 a parking place.
Hey, I'm going up on my prices. I really am, because I don't like them leaving tire prints in my yard unless you can pay me $30.
There you go.
Hey,
have a great
good to be with you.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Keep that going. We'll turn down just a hair. And Dad, you tell them about Bryant Bank as the Sonny whoever's playing. Whoever that is.
Sonny James.
Ain't Sonny James.
Bryant Bank are locations we talk about in Tuscaloosa to our listening audience and to our listening audience in Birmingham and throughout the state of Alabama, Columbiana, down Gulf Shores. I hope that you'll go by there and visit with not only the banker, but with the banker, people that work with the banker. And if you have problems with getting your money after you put it in there, they'll help you. You can open up a business account, a personal account. And I think the next clue there is it needs to be, and it will be safe. I think that's the key. We got a lot of fraud going on now, and people trying to get people's money. They'll do an excellent job of staying on top of what you have. They'll also be happy to help you if you decide you want to buy a home or you want to buy something and you want to talk about the interest rates and those type things like that. They are a hometown bank with hometown area code, hometown everything. So go by Bryant Bank and tell them you heard Barry and I on Inside the Locker Room and that you want to open up an account. We'll appreciate it.
All right, phone lines be open 205. What's the number here? 342-9904. We'll also see if we can get what do we call a second blue plate? Do we call that anything? That's brought to you by Chuck Norwood and Norwood. We'll see if we can get a dessert plate for the weekend. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Got a little something going on here in Northport. Highway 43 southbound at Rose Boulevard. Heavy because of an accident, which is now on the shoulder. But still, you do have the rush to work delays as well. And moving on Stillman Boulevard, 15th Street. That's just a little slow at the intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly cloudy today. We'll have the chance of scattered showers, the high 78. For tonight, becoming mostly fair, the low 62. Tomorrow and Sunday, partly to mostly sunny both days and warm, highs between 80 and 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide football.
Alabama touchdown.
Only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. We talked with Brian Passek in the first hour, just kind of peeking at Alabama's roster. Aiden Sherrill's kid who's not played yet. But, man, when you look at I did see him practice. Kid's 6'10", 240. This is a guy that hasn't – we know what Wrightsville is and what Grant Nelson and Youngblood won't play. But this kid, Aiden Sherrill's credential, he's 2024 McDonald's All-American. He and Reed played together. He was ranked the number 21 player in the country by ESPN, number 4 center in the country. So here's a kid who we hadn't even seen on the court with he and Wrightsville and Grant Nelson. Dad, so they don't really know, or maybe they do. We don't really know their substitution pattern. When you have that many guys, you're going to have a kind of a plan as to how to substitute and make sure you get whoever you want to get in and get the minutes. I kind of got that a little bit. It's not a problem. I got about 12 kids that are good players that kind of deserve to play it. I don't really know how I'm going to do it. And when the football's over, I may add 2 more. You got to have a plan for that, right? I'm going to sub this guy here for this guy. We're going to put him in at this. And then as the game goes on, you kind of play the guys that are playing well. How do you handle all that when you got that
you
many?
do. I mean, you do. That's substitution pattern. I had one of 8 players that I was going to substitute for, and then occasionally 9. But things have even changed basically since then because of the factor of transfer portal is a big deal now. You lose a guy that you don't want to lose because, you're not getting enough playing time. Assistant coaches coming to you and saying to you, Coach, we need to play Joe a little bit more. Well, I got a call from his uncle last night, and he's unhappy. And so that kind of thing happens just like that. And I just got a call last night about this. I got a call last night about that.
It would make Nate Oates' job a lot easier if he did redshirt two guys. Now, but then you look in there and say, well, who's that going to be? Maybe Youngblood is a kid that, I don't know if he has another year that could, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I have to research that. Because then Reitzel would be gone. He could play more minutes. I don't know. If they redshirted a couple, then it would take the pressure off a little bit to have to play.
I think so. I think that would be a talking point as far as with your families and your girlfriends and your uncles and all these people that are upset with you because they thought you were going to be a star and be the leading scorer. I think that would be. I think you're dead on it. You need to, if you can redshirt one that's a good player that can benefit. It can benefit you, no doubt about it.
Yeah, just gotta make sure everybody's good. It would help everybody. So I'm sure Coach, maybe Nas. There's a Nas Cunningham kid. He didn't play a ton. And he was like at one time ranked the number one player in the country. He's a kid from California. He may be a guy that they may. So you look to see if he plays in that first game. If he doesn't, then maybe. And he's kind of a thin kid that probably could use a year in the weight room and all that. So maybe he's one. All right, let's look at the football. Let's go ahead and do another pick for this weekend, which will be the second Blue Plate, brought to you by the Chuck Norwood team, Remax of Gulf Shores. Buying or selling, contact the Norwood team for all your Gulf Coast real estate needs, serving that area for over 33 years. Go to chucknorwood.com. Give them a call, 251-948-1212. All right, what you looking at?
I'm gonna take Indiana.
All right.
I like Indiana. I like their coach. He gets them ready to play. The quarterback is very good. How bad he had a broken finger, looked like. I didn't know whether he's going to play or not. I didn't know he was going to play until Barry said so today. So I think when you go and look at all the other games, you have to do that in order to look at what's going on. I think that you'll find that this is about as good a pick as you can find.
All right, so Chase, get that out on social media. Indiana, the line is 8, so -8 versus Michigan State. The record currently is 5-5, so we're trying to get in the money this weekend, Chase, so we can do. We got baby needs some shoes for Christmas, so we got to get we got to get in the money to make that happen. All right, let's get to the Yellowwood hotline and bring Larry in. Good morning, Larry.
Hey, Larry. Good morning, Barry, Coach.
How are you, buddy?
Vern, y'all doing all right? You got me going. I was talking about Vern.
Vern's good.
But listen, they called him the Voice.
Mm-hmm.
The country music people dubbed him the Voice, and it makes sense. But he was from Woodland, Alabama. He went.
Okay.
He sang at Bethel Church with his mom. She played piano. That was his background.
Yeah.
Before he moved to California.
Where is Woodland, Alabama?
Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you that. Y'all might have to look that up, get Chase and find that. I don't have a clue. Bethel Church. But he ended up. In fact, I don't want to give it all away. I'm doing a segment on him next Wednesday. I meant to do it, but we got tied up on a subject that got real intriguing about the song Deacon Blues,
Yeah.
About mentioning Crimson Tide and all that. Yeah, I'm going to do a little segment. I got to open for him.
Woodland is over there by Wadowee. We know a guy in Wadowee, Dad. I think that's where our boy is, isn't it, the pitcher?
Is that northern Alabama?
It's on the eastern side over there. It's actually close to the Georgia line over there. So it's kind of in the middle of the state. Looks like right over there. I don't know, below 20 and all that. Up above Roanoke, Wadley, up above that area there. So Woodland, Alabama, I guess. Gary.
Yeah, he had a very interesting career. It had ups and downs. You know, he had most of his hits in the late 80s. That's what was so amazing. They would come one after another. And he didn't. He died kind of young, actually. You know, I'm 71. He died at 74. But he was quite a character. He didn't mind having a drink. I was going to talk about that a little bit. He was real down to earth, a real gentleman, you know. So.
Well, that music's good. I like Coach Sonny Smith likes it, and we like.
Well, Sonny James is. I grew up with him. My dad loved Marty Robbins and Sonny James. He used to play that.
Hackleberg.
What was the song? Yeah, Running Bear over the. You know that in. The Bear River or something, I can't remember now.
Yeah, well, Larry, we appreciate it. We would never known he was
great show today.
Woodland, Alabama. So thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, there's Larry. I know he has a segment with Gary Harris. I think it's every Wednesday where they talk music. It's good to talk different things. We talked hoops today. You can't talk about football all the time. So we talked a little Alabama basketball in the first hour, which was nice. All right, we take this last break. We squeeze in one or two phone calls. You guys want to jump in? 205-342-9904. We got the next blue plate out, so we're doing two blue plates this week. Take Indiana -8 versus Michigan State. Listen, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM. WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It looks like we're dealing with a very minor issue right now, and this is on Highway 43 southbound at Rhodes Boulevard, Mid-Larry Road. That fender bender is sitting on the shoulder, so your main lanes are still pretty wide open. Other than that, we're looking at only a little bit of volume in a couple of spots. We do have McFarland east and westbound between Jack Horner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace long-term road work. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly cloudy today. We'll have the chance of scattered showers, the high 78. For tonight, becoming mostly fair, the low 62. Tomorrow and Sunday, partly to mostly sunny both days and warm, highs between 80 and 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, we get right up to the Yellowwood Hotline. Go all the way out to Gordo and get Abe in. Good morning, Abe.
Hey, Abe.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. Who did Coach have last night in the game? I missed that part.
Tulane, minus 14.5, 34-3. Easy.
Oh, man. Tulane will get you well in these picks.
That's right. You had Tulane.
Yeah. I'm like Coach, though. I studied the schedule. And, you know, sometimes you just look at that and you get a game where it's obvious you think the odds makers got the point spread wrong. They made a mistake. And I didn't see anything like that. There were some tough picks.
Yeah. Well, who you going with, Abe?
I'm going to go with South Carolina Gamecocks. Man, they picked us off twice. They got a pretty good secondary. They sacked us 3 or 4 times. I just think that week off, they're going to correct themselves, and I think the Aggies are in trouble.
All right, I'm going to go with my blue plate's going to be Nebraska -7 at home against UCLA.
Who's Dion and them got?
I think let's see. I mean, they may be open. Let me look at the big 12. We got to get used to them being in Big 12. Dion, they're off, so they're playing open this weekend, so they're going to be all right. So.
All right. So what's the point spread on your Nebraska game?
7.
Oh, I think the Bruins are terrible. I think you got it made.
Don't say that.
Hey, let me tell you this. Last night, the Jets played the Texans, and nobody can see it much because it's on Amazon Prime. But the first touchdown, the Jets guy, it's a rookie, Malachi Corley. Yeah, he dropped the ball, and I didn't know it, but a friend of mine texted me that the odds of him scoring the first touchdown was 60-1. And could you imagine somebody had that?
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, y'all have a good weekend.
All right, Abe. Thank you. All right, that's it for today's show. We'll get out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. I guess no Innisfree today with it being no game this weekend. Gary likes who's going to open up then the Gary? If you're not there, you're the one usually has to unlock the door over there. So if you want to see Gary, you got to come to the studio. You can't go to Innisfree today if you want to see his pretty face. Chase, appreciate you this week. Have a great weekend. Sit back and relax. Kick your feet up and watch that Mississippi State UMass game, and that's going to be a good one. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTVC. Go Bulldogs. It's the home of Alabama sports.